Welcome to the UFOs podcast, where we cover all things alien and UFO. Welcome to the UFOs podcast, and I am your host, Jeff Zim. The Miracle of the Sun. The Miracle of the Sun, which reportedly occurred in Fatima, Portugal on October 13, 1917, stands as one of the most significant claimed supernatural events in Catholic history. The incident drew between 50,000 to 70,000 witnesses who gathered after 3 shepherd children predicted the Virgin Mary would perform a miracle. The event took place during a particularly tense period in Portuguese history, following the establishment of the officially secular First Portuguese Republic in 1910. The core phenomenon involved extraordinary solar activity reported by numerous witnesses. Many described seeing the sun appear to dance or zigzag in the sky, move toward Earth, and emit multicolored lights. The event lasted approximately 10 minutes. Witnesses also reported that their previously rain-soaked clothes and the muddy ground suddenly dried. The phenomenon occurred after a period of rain when dark clouds parted to reveal what witnesses described as an opaque, spinning disk in the sky that was notably duller than the usual appearance of the sun. The 3 children at the center of the event, Lucia Santos and her cousins Francisco and Jacinta Marto, had claimed to experience several Marian apparitions in the months leading up to October 13th. Their supernatural encounters allegedly began in spring 1916 with visions of an angel, followed by appearances of the Virgin Mary starting in May 1917. They said the Lady of Fatima promised to perform a miracle so that all may believe. The children's accounts proved deeply controversial, drawing criticism from both secular and religious authorities. At one point, a provisional administrator even took the children into custody, suspecting political motivations behind their prophecies. Father John DeMarchi, who spent 7 years researching the event from 1943 to 1950, collected numerous witness accounts. His documentation included testimony from believers and skeptics alike. A reporter for Odia described seeing the silver sun, enveloped in gauzy gray light, whirl and turn in the circle of broken clouds. Professor Almeida Garrett reported the sun seemed to loosen itself from the firmament and advance threateningly upon the earth. Portuguese poet Afonso Lopes Vieira noted observing a remarkable spectacle in the sky of a kind I had never seen before. The Catholic Church officially declared the event supernatural in 1930, following a canonical investigation that began in November 1917. The investigation was particularly influenced by corroborating testimony from secular reporters, government officials, and skeptics who had witnessed the event. Pope Pius XII later approved the Fatima apparitions in 1940 and claimed to witness similar solar phenomena himself on multiple occasions in 1950, specifically on October 30th to 31st, November 1st, and November 8th. These personal experiences were documented in handwritten notes discovered in 2008. The Church canonized Francisco and Jacinta Marto in 2017, while Lucia Santos was declared venerable in 2023. However, skeptics have proposed various natural explanations for the phenomenon. Scientists note that if the sun had actually moved as described, it would have been visible globally and caused catastrophic effects. Skeptical investigators like Benjamin Radford suggest the witnesses experienced optical effects from staring at the sun, combined with meteorological phenomena like thin clouds and dust that could create unusual visual effects. He emphasizes that while witnesses likely experienced what they claimed, the events took place mostly in their minds. Professor Auguste Meeson, presenting at the 2003 International Symposium Science, Religion, and Conscience, argues that retinal after-images and bleaching of photosensitive cells could explain the reported dancing and color changes. He notes similar sun miracles have been reported at other religious gatherings, such as in Heroldsbach, Germany in 1949, where over 10,000 pilgrims reported comparable phenomena. The event has been scrutinized from multiple scientific perspectives. Meteorologist Stuckel from Regensburg proposed similar theories to Meessen's. Stuart Campbell, writing for the Journal of Meteorology in 1989, suggested that stratospheric dust could have altered the sun's appearance, making it appear yellow, blue, and violet while seeming to spin. Paul Simons proposed that dust from the Sahara may have contributed to the optical effects. Some believers counter that scientific explanations don't rule out divine intervention. Theologian Stanley L. Jakey proposed that God orchestrated natural meteorological factors to create the phenomenon at the predicted time. He suggested that a temperature inversion, combined with ice crystals acting as refraction points, could explain the observed effects while still qualifying as miraculous due to their precise timing and coordination. Father Andrew Pinsent of Oxford University argues that scientific laws don't preclude miracles, as they only describe isolated natural systems. He connects the timing of the event to significant historical milestones. Protestantism in 1517, Freemasonry in 1717, and atheistic communism in 1917, suggesting these connections add to the event's credibility. The phenomenon presents several investigative challenges. Professor Lisa J. Schwabel notes that not all present witnessed the same events, and witness accounts contain significant inconsistencies. Despite the presence of numerous reporters and photographers, no authentic photos of the solar phenomena exist. A commonly circulated image was later revealed to be a photograph of a different solar event taken approximately 8 years later in another Portuguese town. Kevin McClure, former editor of ASSAP's journal, noted that while the accounts are confusing and mystifying, the event remains unique compared to other abnormal phenomena like UFO sightings. He acknowledges that perception and memory can become uncertain during incomprehensible events, though the contradictions in accounts raise questions about the objective nature of what witnesses observed. The event had lasting impact on Catholic devotional practices. A shrine built at Fatima continues to draw thousands of pilgrims. Local journalist Leo Madigan, who worked at Fatima in the late 20th century, suggested that astonishment, fear, exaltation, and the spiritual nature of the phenomenon explain any inconsistencies in witness descriptions. He proposed that witnesses saw the reflection of the Lady's own light projected on the sun itself. Recent analysis by Philippe Dallaire, a faculty member at the Pontifical University of the Holy Cross in Rome, examined photographs of the crowd taken by Oseculo, photographer Judah Rua. His study of shadows suggested two light sources were present, with the silver sun, described by witnesses, appearing at an incorrect elevation to be the actual sun. Dallaire noted that distant observers consistently reported seeing the phenomenon in the direction of Fatima rather than at the sun's true position. The miracle of the sun thus represents a fascinating intersection of religious faith, eyewitness testimony, and scientific investigation. While believers and skeptics continue to interpret the event differently, its historical significance and influence on Catholic culture remains undeniable. The event continues to generate discussion about the nature of miracles, the reliability of mass testimony, and the relationship between religious experience and natural phenomena. Ghost rocket phenomenon. The 1946 ghost rocket phenomenon marked a pivotal moment in the documentation of unexplained aerial phenomena, beginning with the first sightings by Finnish observers on February 26, 1946. Over the following months, approximately 2,000 sightings were recorded across Scandinavia and parts of Europe, with notable peaks occurring on August 9th and 11th. The credibility of these sightings was bolstered by 200 radar confirmations and the recovery of physical fragments allegedly connected to these mysterious objects. While some experts initially attributed the sightings to meteor activity, particularly during the Perseid meteor shower that coincided with the August peaks, this explanation failed to account for numerous characteristics reported by witnesses. The objects frequently demonstrated capabilities inconsistent with meteors, including controlled maneuverability and formation flying. Most sightings occurred outside regular meteor shower periods, further challenging this natural explanation. The political context of the early Cold War heavily influenced initial investigations. Many experts suspected these objects originated from the former German rocket facility at Peenemünde, theorizing they might be Soviet tests of captured German V-1 or V-2 missiles, or perhaps early cruise missile prototypes. This concern prompted the Swedish Army to restrict media reporting of specific details about sightings, including locations, directions, and speeds, considering such information potentially valuable to foreign powers conducting weapons tests. The objects themselves displayed consistent characteristics across numerous reports. Witnesses typically described fast-moving rocket or missile-shaped craft, sometimes featuring wings, visible for only seconds at a time. Other accounts mentioned slower-moving cigar-shaped objects. Some witnesses reported hearing hissing or rumbling sounds, though many sightings were notably silent. A particularly intriguing aspect was the object's reported ability to maneuver in formation and fly horizontally, behaviors inconsistent with conventional rockets of the era. Numerous crash incidents were reported, predominantly in lakes. Witnesses described objects plunging into water bodies, sometimes continuing to move across the surface before submerging. The most famous incident occurred on July 19, 1946, at Lake Kulmjärv, Sweden, where multiple witnesses observed a gray, rocket-shaped object with wings crash following a thunderous sound. Despite an intensive 3-week military search operation, no definitive physical evidence was recovered. Carl Gösta Bartol, the Swedish Air Force officer leading the Lake Kulmjärv investigation, provided fascinating insights both immediately after the incident and in a 1984 interview. He reported disturbances in the lake bed and suggested the object might have been constructed from a lightweight magnesium alloy that could disintegrate easily. Decades later, he maintained his conviction that witnesses had observed genuine physical objects. The Swedish Defense Staff's public statement on October 10, 1946, reflected the phenomenon's complexity. While expressing skepticism about many reports, they acknowledged that some observations were clear and unambiguous, defying explanation as natural phenomena or known aircraft. By December 1946, officials had received nearly 1,000 reports, with 225 classified as observations of real physical objects witnessed in broad daylight. The ghost rocket phenomenon attracted significant international attention. In August 1946, aviation pioneer General Jimmy Doolittle and RCA President General David Sarnoff visited Stockholm, officially for business purposes, but notably received briefings about the ghost rockets. Sarnoff later publicly declared his belief in the reality of these ghost bombs. A classified memo from CIG Director Lieutenant General Hoyt Vandenberg to President Truman suggested Soviet involvement, though historical records show no rocket launches from Peenemünde after February 21, 1945. The sightings extended beyond Scandinavia, reaching Greece, Portugal, Belgium, and northern Italy. In Greece, physicist Paul Santorini, known for his work on the proximity fuse for the first atomic bomb, led an official investigation. His investigation was unexpectedly terminated after intervention from foreign officials, reportedly because authorities feared acknowledging the presence of superior technology against which they had no defense. A declassified 1948 USAFE document revealed that some military investigators seriously considered extraterrestrial origins for both the ghost rockets and subsequent flying saucer phenomena. The document referenced the Lake Kulmjärv search and noted the discovery of an unexplained crater in the lake bed. This represents one of the earliest instances of military authorities officially entertaining the possibility of extraterrestrial activity. The ghost rocket wave of 1946 remains significant in the history of unexplained aerial phenomena for several reasons. The sheer number of sightings, the presence of radar confirmation, multiple credible witnesses, including military personnel, and the recovery of physical fragments, though their nature remained disputed. The investigation's scope and the involvement of multiple governments and military organizations set important precedents for how such phenomena would be studied in subsequent decades. The mixture of physical evidence, technical data, and official military interest makes this case particularly compelling in the study of unexplained aerial phenomena. Thank you so much for listening to the UFOZ podcast. Please remember that we want your UFO and alien stories, so send them to us at ufos.com or email to stories@ufos.com directly to have us read them on the show. Until next time.